minute. Who are you?
What's going on, everybody? Evan Money here with JC the Blind Jedi.
Hey, everybody.
And we are here with our UFC 262 review. And we got a new champion, which we already knew was going to happen. So that's exciting. And no, it was definitely an interesting card. What did you think of the card?
The card overall was a little bit dry, but the ending was definitely made up for it.
Yeah.
There was good in the beginning, good at the end. In the middle, kind of dragged on. I'm not gonna lie. It's like watching the second. It's like watching the second movie in the trilogy. You just had to get through it in order to get through the ending. But the ending was great. So it was a decent pay-per-view. I liked it. Mm-hmm. I liked it, but more along the lines of, wow, if you leave with a showstopper, you're gonna enjoy yourself. So
yeah, definitely going home happy for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about something real quick that happened on the prelims. The main event of the prelims, Jacare Souza had one of the nastiest inverted arm bars on him, is what they put it down as. But you heard a pop.
You heard the bone snap.
And you heard it from, I'm going to turn around and have him point to it on like the area of my shoulder. It was like sitting like right up here. You saw it pop in and out. It was disgusting. It made your skin crawl. And I think that was something we had to talk about because, in the last pay-per-view we had Chris Weidman, break his leg, and it's really difficult to see a lot of these older fighters, the guys that were at the top of the game, getting injured like this.
It's brutal. It's brutal.
It just goes to show. I mean,
this is a young man's game.
Yeah, absolutely. The
moment you start getting over that 35 hill, you need to start planning an exit strategy.
Yeah,
that's flat, plain and simple, man.
And definitely make sure you're taking your calcium. You know what I mean?
Holy
crap!
God, man, bone breaks are a nasty reality with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
So hopefully, sending out our best wishes to Jacare, and hopefully the injury isn't too bad. He can have a quick recovery, make everything easy. Same to Chris Weidman. I know we joke a lot about hating Chris Weidman on our videos, but
we never want to see that happen to anybody.
It's all jokes. And luckily I did hear he has been walking around recently, so that is good to hear that he's kind of recovering quickly. So yeah, we wish you guys the best into a speedy recovery. Mm-hmm. And if you guys end up coming back into the octagon, it'd be great to see you. And then I'll go back to my hating you, Chris Weidman. So,
all bets are off once you get a complete bill of health.
No, exactly.
But we do wish you the best in a speedy recovery.
Just don't go trade with Joshua Fabian, and you'll be fine. So.
Yeah, just anything but Joshua Fabian. So.
Anyway, all right, well, let's dive right into 262.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so first fight, Ensign Barboza versus Shane Burgos. Wow.
This was a great fight. I cannot believe. Okay, so Ensign Barboza, first of all, he gets the knockout. He gets a TKO, and really this was Ensign's fight to lose. Really, he came out and he really put in some leg work. He had great counters, and it wasn't that Shane wasn't doing damage. He didn't do any damage really in the first round. I really think he got owned in the first round. In the second round, he started to come back and started to put something together. And in the third round, maybe about a minute into the third round?
Yeah.
They came in, they had a nice left-right, and as they separated, Burgos looked, and all of a sudden his eyes rolled in the back of his head, and he literally collapsed at the edge of the ring. And it was called. Barboza ran in for a couple of late hits. But it was unnecessary.
Burgos looked like a drunk guy falling off of some steps. Like, shit.
Yeah, it literally looked like the heroin had kicked in, and all of a sudden he didn't know where he was.
Yeah, I mean, and the big part about it, this is like I said, I kind of felt like this was going to be Burgos' first real big challenge coming up in the division. Obviously, it appears that the ranking is a little bit too high for him.
Yeah,
the competition in the division is going to be a little bit too much for him. But I mean, I got to give it to him. Strong fighter, looked really good. Just looked a little bit timid. And, I mean, that was kind of an issue. So,
yeah, he didn't look. It was definitely Barboza. Definitely went out there and he set the pace.
Yeah.
And if you're going out there and you're wanting to get the better fights, you don't want to go out there and let the other guy set the pace. And that's exactly what Barboza did this entire time.
Yeah.
He set the pace of the fight. It was his fight to lose, and he wasn't going to lose it. I figured this one right. This was a cagey veteran. He put enough damage on this guy, and this guy's lights went out.
Yeah.
Delayed reaction. It was a nice 10-second delayed reaction, but yeah, still.
You had said that, Barboza showed such a supreme level of comfortability in the octagon, and it was completely true. I mean, even when Burgos did get in his face a little bit, kind of threw him off, threw some decent shots, none of that really mattered. So, I get hats off to, Ensign, and hopefully he can keep tearing away like this, and, Burgos, better luck next time.
Yeah, no kidding. Barboza, he had plenty of his highlight kicks, lots of them, and he gets the win. So on to the next fight.
Yep.
All right. Caitlin Chikagian versus Araujo. Caitlin won. Decision win. Can't do anything else, can you? This is so boring. Excuse me, I'm gonna go read War and Peace, maybe take a nap. I'll wake up. I'll see you guys later. Okay, so on to the next fight. We have got Rogero Bontorin versus Matchnell. This was a high intense fight, but there's really not a lot to say about this fight.
Both guys were really kind of throwing. Schnell definitely took the brunt of the damage, but really coming down to the wire, it was kind of hard to tell who was winning. I know, it did end up being a unanimous decision, but again, you had a lot of moments where you were like, oh, but nothing happened.
Yeah.
So definitely the crowd in Houston was definitely restless for this one.
Yeah.
So really, it was kind of two fights in a row that were kind of lackluster.
Yeah.
And
it was a rough crowd. It was a rough fight, really.
Yeah.
And this is the problem I have with watching some of these lower card or some of these lightweight fights. Is we've seen the top of the
lower weight fights. Sorry.
The lower weight fights. I'm sorry.
125, 135s.
Yeah.
No, and I agree. That's kind of the issue, is that not a whole lot of these guys are finishing, which definitely sells big. They had, like I said, there was a lot of moments where you thought, oh, there could be a finish.
Yeah, there could be a finish.
But there wasn't, and that's what seems to be the issue. They started to do the Clay Guida, Diego Sanchez, brawl.
Brawl, yeah.
And then, Bontorin went for a takedown and then sat there for the rest of the round. Rogero ended up getting a unanimous decision. But, yeah, neither one of these guys could feel too good about this.
I don't really see them moving up anywhere in the ranks.
No, I don't either.
I don't see him moving up in the ranks that much for it. And Schnell, he needs some work. You could definitely tell the ring rust.
Yeah,
absolutely. You could definitely see the ring rust. He wasn't on as top of his game as he usually is. He was in Texas. He's from Texas, but that wasn't helping them tonight. He just looked rough in there. So Bontorin gets the win, and on to the next fight.
Yep. Okay, so the co-main event was Tony Ferguson versus Beneil Dariush, and this fight was it was kind of sloppy.
This really was. I mean, this had all the makings to be fight of the night, and it was anything but.
Yeah.
This was a long, drawn-out John Fitch type match. Dariush figured he followed Oliveira's thing is to grapple with him and keep Tony on the bottom and just kind of eke out some little ground and pound.
He had in a heel hook, which, he locked in. Ferguson was able to get out of it. Definitely messed up Ferguson's leg, the leg that he had already had
He needs a
issues
tap.
with.
He needs a tap.
But realistically, I mean, I was saying as we were watching this, I was saying, if Dariush does this against a guy like Oliveira,
He's getting caught.
he's going to get caught. I mean, I could have put him in a dozen submissions with no training whatsoever, just knowing how the submissions are.
Yeah.
And he was leaving his neck out there, his arms, his legs, everything like that. It was really sloppy wrestling. This was basically like what you would call a dark match in WWE.
Yeah.
Where you get a guy who just isn't polished up yet. I
mean, I really don't see him going up any in the rankings really off of this win. Maybe you might.
No.
But, I mean, you don't want any of the top 5. I'll say that much right now.
Yeah, he didn't want to strike with anybody. He didn't want to strike with Tony, so he's not going to want to strike with anybody else. And I think right now he's got a long way to go. He's got to give us a better showing.
Yeah, this was not nothing for a title challenge match.
No,
we kind of went in hoping that this was going to be good. I picked Beneil Dariush to win. He did win in a decision, but I mean, it was just
he feels dirty about the decision. Look at it. I mean, his skin was crawling because it wasn't a good showing. I mean, it was very poor wrestling. And again, it's hard to applaud and enjoy a ground game that is
bad,
sloppy.
It is like watching one of those YouTube street beef videos. I mean, just very, very sloppy, and it looked like two guys just messing around in a backyard. It was just bad. I'm just kind of disappointed, to be totally honest.
I've seen better groundwork on the amateur scene, and on some of the lower pro scenes. So again, I don't know what they're going to do, what Dariush is going to do. For Ferguson at 37, man.
Yeah, well, I was saying I was warning about he's starting to show his age, and he is starting to look long in the tooth.
And I do not think that Dana's going to want to keep him around.
No, Dana has been looking to cut. He's been cutting dead weight. He's been cutting the dead wood. He's been trimming the trees a lot lately. So maybe a fight, if not. That was kind of a disappointing letdown, and hopefully we'll be up for the main event.
Yeah. So.
All right, here we go.
So on to the main event. We had Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira, and we have a new champion.
Well, we're going to have a new champion.
So, this fight was everything we expected it to be. There was a lot of highs, no lows. Everything was exciting. Both guys looked amazing.
Wow. So, Charles Oliveira, TKO in the second round, and I'm wrong, and he's right. And man, like he said, this was everything it was billed. This is how you end the night. This is a great night.
No, definitely.
Really, you had two guys at the top of their game, and we just saw one guy make one bad decision after another, and it cost him.
Mainly two. Mainly just two. Just two.
Yeah.
Chandler was dominating in the first round, and when Oliveira had his back, he foolishly jumped backwards,
trying to do a back slam and lose the position.
Definitely took a lot out of Chandler, and then Chandler had Oliveira rocked. And instead of allowing him to stand back up, take his time, he basically charged in and tried to ground and pound Oliveira, which, in my opinion, was a horrible idea. And obviously, looking back at it, it was a bad idea.
It did. It's going out of the first round, everybody noticed it is how much Chandler was breathing heavy.
Yeah.
And literally, there was a guillotine early when Oliveira went for the takedown. Mm-hmm. Chandler tried the guillotine, and Evans said that burned his arms. Then there was trying the back drop slam that took out a lot of energy because he was literally on his back for about a good minute before he spun around and turned it around. And then as soon as he got the advantage, he pressed the action. Instead, he had him rocked.
Yeah.
As soon as he turned around, he pressed the action, and then he rocked him, and then he tried to stay on top of him. And Oliveira was smart enough to weather the storm.
He held on and bit down on his mouthpiece. Took a couple more punches, made it out of the round, and then 19 seconds in, Oliveira hit him, and Chandler went down, and Oliveira didn't rush in and try and go for a takedown with ground and pound. He focused strictly on continuing.
Yeah,
to strike him.
He found a couple of good openings, and bam, bam, and that was it. The referee waved him off, and we had a new champion. Beautiful, beautiful celebration. He jumped the ring and got right into Rogan and DC's face and was screaming at him. Left blood on Dana White, and then the best part is he got to go out and celebrate in the stands with his family.
Yeah.
To see fans, to see the Houston arena packed and people screaming with Michael Buffer, "It's time!" Yeah. That was great.
It was a sold-out house out down there in Houston, which is awesome to see. It was funny because you could still tell that some like the floor security for the Toyota Center was like, "Oh, no, you can't go out there." But it's like, he's not attacking anybody.
Yeah.
There's no mandate. So... chill out, okay? Yeah, he ran right over to three people who was, clearly family, and gave them hugs, and then walked back over. It was just a great thing to see. He was obviously very emotional. What they say, 28 fights to get to this point for Charles Oliveira.
28 fights in the UFC?
Yeah. And then on top of that, he also now has the most finishes in UFC history, passing Donald Cerrone.
Yeah.
And, he still holds the most submissions in UFC history as well. So, where they're headed now, again, Chandler looked good enough to where I still firmly believe he's tied for the second best fighter in the division.
Right before I came back up, they had the new rankings. They still had Tony at 4 because they haven't updated it yet, and they had Connor at 5.
Mm-hmm.
So we still have about 2 or 3 people in there. So we still have Dustin and Justin to go on. We have Connor. We've got Kazmat.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a nice mix of people that can all challenge for the strap, and then whoever's not going to take them on, Chandler's right there to take on whoever else is there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am really interested. Now, we know that the Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor trilogy fight is going to be booked. But we also know that we've got a lot of other places,
Yeah.
I would love to see Chandler versus Gaethje.
I would too. I think that would be a great fight. I think both guys are explosive. Both guys coming off of a loss kind of need to show and reassert themselves in the division.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, the winner of Dustin and Conor, I feel, is going to get the title shot next.
I would think it has to be. I would really.
And like I said, I think Conor has to get a decisive win over Dustin, make Dustin look like he's beneath Conor. Like if that happens, then absolutely. If it's a decision, then you could still throw Dustin in there.
Yeah, when was the last time you saw Conor McGregor do a decision win?
Yeah, no. So
I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, wait a minute, wasn't that like a fight night when they were still showing them on ESPN? So that's exactly what I'm thinking is this lightweight division. Now that Khabib Nurmagomedov is gone, we have a whole new plate of people that we can throw up now that Oliveira has a strap. I'm excited for this. This was a great pay-per-view. I enjoyed it a lot. And I'm excited for the next pay-per-view because you saw what was coming up next.
Yeah, so obviously coming up next, we have Israel Adesanya versus Martin Vettori 2.
They faced each other a while back before Adesanya went on his tear.
And this one is going to definitely be interesting. This, I think, is going to be another one where he's probably going to choose Adesanya. But for me, this is going to be a little bit harder to choose as far as that one coming up. So we'll get to that, when it comes up. There also is the flyweight championship is going to be on that card.
Oh, the rematch.
Between Figueiredo and
Moreno.
Yep.
Brandon
And
Moreno too.
that's going to be exciting. So,
Didn't they also? If you look downstairs, they also rebooked the Nate Diaz Leon Edwards fight for the next pay per view.
Yep,
So.
that is also on there.
Yeah,
the next
great.
pay per view in June is going to be stacked. So, June 12th we'll be coming at you with that, I believe. Yeah, I read that right.
All right, there we go.
So, but no, great card. Had a couple of snoozers in there and some stuff that was difficult to watch. But, definitely finished out and definitely with some excitement. So,
Oh yeah, it's always good to go out with a bang. You forget all the stupid stuff if you're excited like this. Cause all you got is one hit, and man, I'm not going to sleep tonight. So
yeah, no, exactly. We're not going to sleep. Neither is Joe Rogan. So and again, like we said during the predictions, neither one of us were going to be upset no matter who won or lost this. Because we were happy for both fighters and felt both fighters deserved this. So.
Yes, they did.
But until next time, I will see you guys then. I'm Evan Money.
JC the Blind Jedi.